blowing up on the ship. You can see that, you know.
December 7th, 1941. It's a day Mr. Jimmy Lee will never forget.
Well, you know, I was a rascal little kid, full of mischief, you know, full of troubles, and curious and everything else, and unafraid. And there I was on that Sunday morning doing my chores, and then all of a sudden, wow, just over treetop level, here comes this plane. You know, I could hear the engine. I mean, it was spectacular, and I could see the bottom of the plane.
Mr. Lee was just 11 years old when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor.
I ran to the railroad track and watched, seeing all the planes, all the attack and everything else. And it was just going over there, seeing like I'm watching a show.
Even at this young age, Mr. Lee knew his once carefree childhood would never be the same.
This is where I felt that I just grew up all of a sudden. That same day when we went back home, we came under martial law or military control. And that's when life changed. We had what we call censorship. And we had rationing. We had blackouts.
Despite the difficulties of the war, life continued on the family farm. A few years after the war, Mr. Lee was drafted into the Army and his career in the service lasted 43 years. After retiring, he felt he still had more to offer.
I live on the shore there and watch the attack. So I worked for a long time and finally decided that I'd do some volunteer work. And one of the things they asked me to do was to talk to the students, because I want to share with them on what life was like, you know, as a youngster. You know, as an 11-year-old kid, what had happened, how impact, and the conditions, and what you learn out of it. And then likewise, how you cope with it.
I thought the presentation was very informative because none of us will be able to actually experience what it was like. So that's probably the closest thing we'll be able to experience.
This side here, where you at?
At 86 years old, Mr. Lee volunteers with the National Park Service and knows the defining moments that shaped his own life decades ago can still have a profound impact and can educate others.
When I think, you know, back 75 years ago, you can tell all the stories about this, but for myself, it just takes me back where I can look in the skies, I can see the planes, I can hear the bombing. A lot of memories, nothing that I had nightmare, but it's just all of those memories.
This is Angelina Paquin from Aliamanu Middle School for HIKI No.